Hi everyone. One thing that you should know about me is that I'm a dance teacher. And one of the things that I find beginner dancers struggle with the most is just a basic pirouette. And this can be due to certain things like improper posture or difficulty with coordination. But don't worry, with this step-by-step tutorial, you can be turning like a pro in no time. It's simple, it's easy, and you don't even have to be a dancer to try it. And make sure to stick around for the end because I'll also be going over some of my personal tips and tricks to help you perfect your pirouette. I'm super excited to show you. So I always say the most important part to learning how to do a turn is properly prepping for it. Start by stepping one foot forward and the other foot back. I'm going to step with the left foot so I can turn to the right. This video is mirrored, so my left is your left. You want to make sure that you're in sort of a lunge position. Both legs should be slightly bent, but the front leg should be more so than the other. You also want to make sure that you're on your back tippy toes, or what us dancers call releve. Another thing to make sure of is that your front foot is not turned too far in. You want to make sure that it is straight in front of you. Now that we're in the correct position with our lower body, let's look at the upper body. You want to start by making sure that you aren't twisting to one side or the other, and that your hips and shoulders are squared to the front. One thing that is also very important is to make sure that you aren't slouching or poking your chest too far out. You want to make sure that you engage through your core and lift through your chest. After you check your posture, you can now place your arms in an L shape with the right one in front and the left one to the side. You want to make sure that the arm that is in front is the opposite side of the leg that is in front. One way that I tell my younger dancers to remember this is to close the gate with their arm and their leg. Okay, so now that you know how to prep, you can work on the placement of your turn. First, let's start by taking the back right foot and connecting it to the knee of the left leg. This is called a jazz passe. Some things to make sure while doing this is that the arch of your foot is connected to the inside of your left knee. You want to make sure that you're not wrapping your foot around the front or the back of your knee. While in this position, you also want to make sure that your knee is not bent and that you lock it straight. This will give you the most support in your turn. When doing this position, your arms should be in a big circle. One way to get your arms in the proper position is to envision yourself hugging a big pole with your fingers facing towards you. You also want to make sure that your thumbs are tucked behind your fingers and that there's a small gap between your hands. To prepare for your turn, you can work on your balance. Now, a lot of how you balance in your turn comes from your prep, which is why I spent so much time going over that. But one thing to keep note of is that you aren't leaning too far back or forward, because this will cause you to fall out of your turn. Instead, you want to keep your body straight in the middle, and you want to make sure that your shoulders and hips are in line with one another. To practice balancing in your turn, you can put everything together by starting in your prep and pushing yourself up to passe position while staying flat-footed. Once you've gotten the hang of that, you can try to start in your prep and push up to releve or on the balls of your feet or tiptoes. This is where you really want to take a look at your posture and everything that we've been talking about this far, and make sure that you're still applying it while pushing into your turn position. A way that you can test your balance is by shaking your head back and forth while in your releve turn position. This ensures that you aren't tensing through your neck and your posture is in the correct position to turn. If any of this seems confusing to you, remember that you can always repeat certain parts of the video as many times as you need. But now that you know all the intricate details, we can finally get to turning. You can gradually work into doing a full turn by turning for a quarter at a time. Since I have the left foot in front, I'm going to be turning over my right shoulder. This is the way that most people turn best due to being right-handed or having better coordination on their right side. To start your quarter turn, push up to your passe on releve and use just enough momentum to turn 90 degrees. For now, you can come back into your prep position when you land. You can practice going in a full circle with 90-degree turns. Once you get the hang of that, you can try going halfway now. This time, push harder to get yourself 180 degrees from where you started. When you feel confident enough with quarter and half turns, you can either add 90 degrees to do a 3/4 of the way turn, or you can just push to do a full turn. This is what your pirouette should look like at this point. You can land by stepping out into second position or a wide stance with your legs hip distance apart. One last thing to add to your turn is spotting. Spotting is extremely crucial to turning, especially when it comes to doing multiples of turns later on. That is why perfecting it in the early stages of turning is important. Spotting is essentially keeping your head to the front and whipping it around really fast when your body reaches a certain point. To practice this, put your hands on your shoulders and focus on one point of the room while turning your body slowly until you reach the back corner. At this point, you should be looking over your left shoulder. You then want to turn your body and whip your head at the same time, so now your head and right shoulder are facing the front. And to finish, keep your head in place and rotate your body back to the front. If this doesn't make sense to you, you can just think about focusing on one point and try not to lose sight of it while rotating your body. Now try to speed this up to make it a more consistent motion. You can now try it with your turn by keeping your head focused to the front until your body reaches the back. This is what your turn should look like with the spot. If you've done all this and something still doesn't feel right, you can try it on the other side. So instead of using the left foot, step the right foot in front. Remember how I said most people are better turning on the right side? Well, that's not everybody. Some people turn better on the left. So if that's you, just reverse everything that I've said in this video to the opposite side. As you can see, my left turns are the best, but that's because I turn better on my right side. If you follow these steps, you should have a beginner turn. If you notice throughout the video, I've been wearing these. These are what I call my turning footies. I use them to do jazz and contemporary style dance. They're a little bit beaten up because I use them all the time, but these will help you to be able to turn better because of the slick bottoms. These are kind of a rubbery material. They make some that are canvas or kind of like what I call like the ballet shoe. They make all kinds of styles of these turning shoes. But if you don't have them, you could always use socks to help you be able to turn with less friction between your feet and the floor. That is it for the tutorial today. Thank you for sticking around to the end, and I hope that you enjoyed watching. I enjoyed making it. I thought that this project was a lot of fun, and I hope that whether you're a dancer or not, you got something useful out of this. Maybe you now know how to do a turn, and you can impress your friends with some dancer knowledge.